All right, so welcome to the Poetry Den, where words once written on a page are now performed on stage, not an actual stage, and solidarity extends between poets and friends. Welcome to the Poetry Den. If you're out there listening, and if you're in here, we can give ourselves some snaps or a round of applause for being here. Appreciate you all for being here. This is April National Poetry Month. And so what's so awesome is that we are have a space here to be able to celebrate poetry, to share our words, to listen to others. I'm not being biased here, but I am being biased. But poetry does a lot. It does a lot for a lot of people. It's a way of sometimes healing. It's a way of expressing our words. It's a way of maneuvering through life. I once did a workshop or something of that nature, I think it was, and I had interviewed some poets that I know and just asked them about what poetry has done for them. And when we recorded them separately, not hearing each other, all three of them said that poetry has saved my life. And I thought it was extremely amazing. I could say that, use that same testimony. So again, we're here every month, every fourth Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. Right now, we are virtual. We'll be back together soon. I am proclaiming that. But right now, we have a few people that are here. In the live with us, and then we have you out there. And so if you know someone that's interested in joining us, they can, get on the Zoom link and join us. If you are interested in the open mic tonight, just put something in the chat. Georgia, let me know. I think I'm also up on the screen so I can see if there's anybody that would like to participate, but we would love to hear from you. Basically how we do it is each poet has somewhere between 5 and 8 minutes. And then we just kind of rotate. So we encourage you to hang around. We have a wonderful featured artist tonight that's got a special treat for you. So hang tight, hang in there, and yeah, let's do this. I also wanted to share something that I did put on my page or on the Poetry Den page. And it just says, poetry celebrates the individual word, the sound of language and the rhythm of language in a way that a narrative does not. Poetry is a great vehicle for learning how complex thoughts, humorous ideals, deep emotions, or entire narratives can be expressed with a few careful chosen words. I thought that was it said it so beautifully. And so I thought I'd just share that again on this National Poetry Month. Again, I'll start us out. If you have anything you want to ask, just put it in the chat. Again, we'll try to address it. But again, we would love to hear from you if you'd like to join us in the open mic session before we have our featured artists. We encourage you to do so. So I will begin with a poem actually I just wrote. And again, as I have tried to share with you all, and most of you know, writing for me, especially if something big or traumatic is happening, I find that writing helps. It helps me to try to figure out what I'm feeling. It doesn't take everything away, but at least lets me kind of recognize what's going on and put some words to it. So I have a dear friend that I grew up with. She was my best friend for a long, long time until, you get married and, you have kids and everybody's busy and then you meet new people. And I think it's designed that way. I think we're designed to not only just bless one another's life, but actually bless some other people outside of our circle. So, but no matter what, we've always been in contact with one another. We know where each other lives. We know a phone number. If one of us would text one another or something, it was an immediate response. And so when I learned that she passed away, which was very suddenly, Um, it's yeah, it's just been really hard. And I wrote this poem that evening when I came home after hearing about it. Her name is Peaches, and Peaches was a musical person. She sang all. She's been singing her times as long as I've known her. She sang, and later I started calling her Peachtree just because it's my own little pet name or something like that. So it doesn't really have a title other than a tribute to my forever friend. And it says, I know why the songbird sings at the top of the peach tree. She utters a succession of musical tones, a chorus written, a melody told. Called to sit in this particular tree, perched where tree limbs bloom, placed among leaves, waiting to bear fruit, a harvest we receive. Always available to render a song that will touch a starving soul with sweet nectar, with a quenching heart will remember. Dear songbird, I know what you sang yesterday, but what will you sing for us today? What words will you tell us, flowers in your hair and leaves between your feathers to say? Our time has come and the calling came. Released from the peach tree, our songbird received her wings. I know why the songbird sings at the top of the peach tree. She utters a succession of musical tones, a chorus written, a melody told. What's that piece? All right. Huh? Love you too, George. Before I forget, I'm gonna have George join us. George is one of the main men here at the Civil Rights Heritage Center that makes things run. And I always like to have him speak about this place that we have been in for several years because it's important, because it has history, and it's great to recognize uh, where we stand and where we're allowed to do this. So George.
Pam, thank you. I appreciate that. Forgot how tall I was. Let me turn that. Thank you for that, Pam. Get this all set. There we go. Thank you to everybody watching. Thank you especially to everybody here, coming out of this cold, lonely winter, right. Getting some vibrancy back into this place is deeply special. So my sincerest thanks to everybody being here. And again, especially in this space, right? So we do what we do here out of the city of South Bend's first municipal indoor swimming pool. It was called the Engman Public Natatorium. And they chose that word public. They chose not only to have that be part of the name of the space, but they carved it into the concrete right by the front door. But it was never truly public. For its first 30 years, the people who ran this place, people who look as I do, specifically and deliberately denied entry to African-American people. It was an act of violence that impacted tens of thousands of people in this city for almost 30 years. And by no means was this space the only one. Almost every space had some form of what I'm talking about. What we do out of this space now, decades later, is to reclaim it, is to look at the waves that were made in the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1950s, and the decades past, see how they're impacting us today, and see how waves that are being made now will continue to impact for decades to come. And there are many, because by no means when we talk about segregation, when we talk about discrimination, when we talk about racism, by no means is that a relic of the past. It is very much of the present and of the future. One of the many ways that that impacts people, of course, is violence, particularly by those sworn to protect police violence. Though we received news last week of at least one measure of accountability in one case, I'm talking, of course, of the late George Floyd and Derek Chauvin, the man who purposefully kneeled on his neck for almost 10 minutes. Though we have some measure of accountability in that one case, in the 24 hours since that verdict, 6 other people were killed. In the year since George Floyd, approximately 181 people were killed. And as I was getting ready to say that news on the center's social media, as the Floyd verdict was being released, we heard news of yet another young girl in Ohio, 182. It's too much. And it has been too much, not just this year, but in every year since white people came and stole this land. So what we try to do out of this space is just to have honest conversations about that, is to recognize the harm that has been done, the harm that is continuing to be done, and to try to really grapple with that. And that does mean some hard conversations, but it also means that we have to take time to celebrate life. We have to take time to celebrate that in so many ways. And one of the ways that we do that is through spoken word. So as I was sharing to the people who are live here, one of the ways that we do that is music. We haven't done that out of this space for a really long time. So you're going to get an extra special treat later than that. So for today, we're going to have these walls sing with some really, really beautiful sounds, with some really, really beautiful words. And we're going to take that time and we're going to celebrate life. And Pam, again and again, every month, I thank you for giving us the privilege of letting us have these walls sing. So thank you.
There we go. All right. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. I pay him to say nice things about me, so you know. I enjoy doing this because someone did it for me. Someone had a platform for me to be able to share. And so it's important for me to provide that as well. And again, like I said, we always want to encourage, you know, those that are out there to come participate, because I'd rather hear your words than hear myself talk, because I'm an only child and I know how to entertain myself for long periods of time. And I know how to celebrate myself too. So I do both ends. So anyways, it's always great to hear from you all, and you inspire me. I'm no joke. Like, listening to other people always inspires me, and it helps me to continue to write and hopefully publish that book one day. So I'm going to share one, and then I'm going to ask one of my peeps that are here to come alongside me and share their words as well. This piece is called Freedom Writers. I took these writings and exchanged them for words. I've opened my mouth to thoughts unheard. I've taken these hopes, I've taken these plans, I've taken these dreams and shared them with men. I've sung to you my heart, appointed you my musician, but my words and your music were only an illusion. I took my voice and expressed them to unfamiliar ears. I've given a glimpse, hoping that someone would adhere. I've maximized my freedom, capitalized free speech, called it spoken word. To some, it might impeach. I've found what is foolish will confound the wise. I've found the strong is the weak's demise. I've listened to the judgment, wondered about the jury. Was there testimony or witnesses? Did someone commit perjury? I said I understood, but did I really understand? Did I compromise my position, trade my vision for your command? I recognize that creative expression does not constitute truth, yet to one's open mind might understanding produce. Did I take away your freedom, your right to comprehend? Do my words keep us divided, assault the mind, and cause defense? Written words, transformed to spoken feelings. Let us not be like mice. Let us not be like mere mice, chewing books without reading. As freedom riders. I'm gonna call on my friend Pat. Are you ready? Not yet. Always when you have a feeling is when it's gonna happen.
As a mature former professor, social worker, administrator, I get a little perturbed when I hear some of my colleagues in my age group have such negative things to say about young people. And so I have to remind them that these young people are our future. And I wrote this poem. It's called Our Future. Too often, we fail to see their potential as they attempt to travel treacherous roads littered with disdain, struggling with despair. Too often, we see only distrust when families and relationships have resulted in pain and betrayal, leaving them with hearts heavy like the metal-piercing eyebrows, lips, and tongues. Too often, we see them hiding behind a cool facade, twittering wry irony and blistering humor, causing all to keep a cautious distance, protecting themselves from us. So we must teach them not to scorn sensitivity, but to embrace the healing power of positive relationships. We must teach them to step over the pebbles littering their paths, to see themselves as we see them, people of potential and promise. We cannot give up because these children are our future.
Yeah.
And back to the past for the days when I was working with the ladies of the streets. I wrote this. Stale sheets. Shivering on cold streets, she sells sex. Long legs striding and spiked heels flashing, smiles sharp as a stiletto in her purse. She barters bits of her soul in exchange for crumpled bills in the darkness. She barters bits of her soul with each sale.
Wow. Very nice. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate you always coming and joining us in person. And I hope to hear from you again in this open mic segment. Again, if you're out there, I can't really see. I can see and not see. So, but if you're out there, please join us. Share your words with us. It's National Poetry Month. This is what we do here at the Poetry Den every fourth Sunday of the month, except for maybe in December. But again, we make this available for our community, all community, not just one community, but all community to come and share. So I'm gonna ask my friend Spencer to, that's my male BFF.
First things first, all love to Pam, George. Thanks so much for telling the story of this place, George. It's really meaningful. And Pam, of course, thanks so much for doing this and being yourself. I appreciate it. It's kind of nice to follow it up after Pat. Like I was like your poetry was like so sharp, and it's kind of an honor to step in after. I find myself writing a lot about faith and what it looks like in a modern day in a way that's meaningful, in a way that's also honest. And anytime I think I have an answer of what the world should be like, the world pulls me towards something a little bit more nuanced, pulls me towards greater mystery. And poetry is one of the ways that helps me communicate that. So I'm going to read some poems I got today. I'll just do 4 here, 4 quicker poems. And if we have time later, I might do a couple more, but this is just a poem called Before You Enter. It's meant to be the first poem in a book. So imagine, in your mind's eye, it's kind of weird to read it out loud, but imagine in your mind's eye, you're holding a book, and this is the first poem you cross. Before you enter. If by luck you find these pages thrumming with something at once unknown and home, disregard your dichotomies. If by chance you find these sheets humming a holy hymn, or you find them soaked with some sort of sacred atheism, shed your safe schemas. If by faith or its absolute absence, you find your ear nestling this soft song, ink and paper, if you hear the muffled murmurs of something other or not at all, please do not stop. Press further, press deeper, eavesdrop.
Like that.
The whole poem started with just that last word.
Yeah.
It had to be built around that last
that
word.
was perfect.
The next two poems are just dates, little moments that happened on dates. The first one is January 19th, 2019. So to set the scene, we're in late January in South Bend, Indiana. I know it will be hard to imagine what's, cold and sad and everything. January 19th, 2019, South Bend, Indiana. The snowstorm we braced all week for came like a childhood nightmare tamed by age, with a strange hollowness or disappointment. I woke from a slumber at the onset of evening, knowing that I had not yet said my daily prayers. And I confess, I slept because of an encumbered conscience, for the inchoate moral malaise that hovered above me for days. I kneeled to chant some sorry apology, and as I did, hues lingered in my curtains, so I opened them. And there she was, the sky giving herself to me again through the bare, budless veins of a tree italicized in light. Rapturous, blood orange splayed upon the firmament, mottled by the blue bruised residue of a storm that was not nearly as bad as we had once thought. Nothing distracted my gaze, not the ache of sin, not imperfection, not God, not even this poem, which I wrote hours later in a darkness that was not darkness.
Oh, wow.
So this one's actually far more recent. This is February 20th, 2021. So again, we're in February, a couple months ago of coronavirus year. Think of all that. I spent the last year living in my cousin's back room. They're super gracious. They're wonderful people to live with. But when you're living in someone else's space for a long period of time, it can kind of just eat at you a bit, especially in COVID times. Right. So this is a short little poem, a little moment. I was running on the Riverwalk and I saw a bird land on top of a fence, and it was later at night and the moon lined up perfectly behind it. In Christian iconography, there's a term called nimbus, and a nimbus is that little halo you see behind people's face, meant to determine holiness. And so you'll see that word in there, nimbus will show up. I'll use it as a verb. And I think that's all I need to say. February 20th, 2021. A sparrow squats atop chain link, backlit for a blink by the dying chrome moon, before he weaves between the metal mesh and flits away on the frozen breeze. Nimble, small, nimbus saint, pray for me, and sing for June.
Ooh.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was going to end in a different place, but I'm going to end on a more interesting, kind of fun, but very serious poem as well. I was sitting one day in the summer months and I had a bowl of watermelon, and I'm someone who's was raised in the church, and I studied Christian ministries in undergrad. And right now I'm at a school that's very theological. And so I'm always kind of thinking about faith and had different struggles in that regard. And I remember one day I was supposed to be reading my Bible or doing some prayer or something, and I just had this bowl of watermelon, and it was like chilled, and it was summer, and it was good.
Right.
And I thought to myself, what would it be like if this cold watermelon was my scripture for the day? And this poem began. Bowl of cold watermelon as sacred text. Friends, I have nothing against the Psalms. Only a few qualms with the surrounding stories, talking donkeys, stoned giants, a big bounty hunting fish. And sure, he has his tantrums, but Paul was probably lonely. A strict celibate writing love poetry? I mean, come on. Truly, I do not mean to throw out the Bible with the baptismal water, but today the fruit is not forbidden. My scripture must be this small bowl of pink, almost crispy watermelon. So I read, crunching chilled clumps like crimson snow, teeth teasing the damp sponge of its body, subtle, abundant ambrosia dribbling from my chin, reminding me the fruit of the Spirit is actually sweet.
Look at that.
Why read of Samson and his gore when you can enjoy the saccharine, unproblematic slaughter of a watermelon? Why hide who you are and love because of some imprecise letter between long gone pen pals when you can enjoy this simple delight? Sorry, I don't mean to evangelize. It's just when I set my mouth to the granular slush of its bloodless, blood-red flesh, every munch becomes sacrament. And even better, you need not fret eating around sections. There are no black pits to risk a dislodged filling. It's seamless. After it's gone, there remains in the bowl a pool thick as drool, with small white seeds bobbing atop like dead candy fish, while slices like sugary eels slither in the dregs. I bring the vessel to my lips. This is my blood poured for you. When my impromptu Eucharist finishes with a reading from the Mellon lectionary, thus saith the Lord, here is my scroll, take and eat. In your mouth it will be sweet like honey, and for your stomach soured by all those things you have been forced to believe, you will find, finally, relief.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you so much, Spencer. For those that are listening, those that are here, I'm trying to get this guy to co-partner with me so that he can help me do this thing. He said he would, so I'm gonna put the pressure on him. I love to have a nice, a good variety of like those that write poetry and have a great love for it. Again, we are in the end of April. Imagine that. But it's National Poetry Month, and we celebrate it here every month. But it's a special month this month, and again, we invite you, if you're out there, to share with us before we have a nice, refreshing, wonderful featured artists with us. So be ready for a great treat. Again, sometimes, it's always nice to have great numbers, but I appreciate what has been laid out for us. And I want to honor that by continuing and having this space. And I appreciate the Civil Rights Heritage Center again for allowing us to be here. So with that talky talk, yeah, I'm going to keep talking to you. We have a Facebook page. Encourage you to join the Facebook page. Also, if you know of other poetry events, we love to promote that. This is not the only one. There's people that can't make it on Saturday or Sunday evenings. And so if there's one on Fridays, just let me know. We love to promote that. We want to promote it. The arts are important. So I'm going to do one called, I haven't done in a while, called Forever Love, just to be different here. I guess it's not going to be there. Oops, here we go. Forever Love. I want to say that I wrote this after having a conversation with someone. I'm pretty sure I did. And I was inspired to write this. Forever Love. How long is our forever love, said my. How long is our forever? Sorry. How long is our forever, said my forever love? How long will we endeavor that which we long to discover? How long will we wake up to a dawn of imperfect perfection, overlooking our differences while attempting to remain honest? We experience a love language. I speak Spanish, you speak French. We only hear Italian. Refusing to understand gives our love a disadvantage. Zodiac sign predictions mixed with social media addictions, searching for a pot of gold, window shopping for my forever love through the eyes of their soul. Our inner beauty lies beneath the beast of feelings, emotions, and our aversion to a peaceful world solution. The fabric of unity woven into the love we've chosen. Happily ever after is the ending of our forever bedtime story. Sweet dreams help me sleep at night. Inner peace helps me face the morning. Old Man Winter and Mother Nature create a Sandman hourglass, but we'll spend forever moments like numbers frozen on a stopwatch. So what if our forever was right here and now? And our love stayed young, lasting for minutes instead of hours. How long is our forever, said my forever love. A question we may never know the answer. That's forever love. And I'm gonna read one more and then I'm gonna, Patsy, if you wanna join me again, you're more than welcome to. Again, any of you out there that would love to be with us, we definitely would love to hear your words. This one is called Damage Control. And yeah, as I said, lots of my poems are written inspired by something. And I believe this was written in December of 2020. So yeah, just right after the election. Another year comes to an end, one where the earth has been shaken to its core from within. Left are the hearts we try to console while counting the cost of damage control. Tears we no longer know how to dry. Voices yell in the streets, an eye for an eye. Wasting time recounting the votes of failed tests from 4 years of bad notes. Hear ye, a New Year resolution. Better yet, a new mind revolution. Attention, please. I'd like to make a motion to right the rights from wrongs of selfish erosion. Remember when only washing your hands before dinner would suffice? Now washing your hands after everything becomes a regiment for life. Hands we no longer hold, counting the cost of damage control. We wear a mask, they ask, such a tedious task. As if you landed on the earth for the first time, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. Black and brown bodies at risk, COVID vaccine they resist, proclaimed to keep them safe with a shot in the arm, or killed by those that serve and protect by wrongful invasion of their home. The pandemic from a panoramic view, eye of the storm, as the media is faithful to review. Millions of loved ones this disease has stole, counting the cost of damage control. Shifting through year-end debris, looking for some hope, a little piece of my sanity. When the future has more maybes than goals, we count the cost of damage control. That's that piece. You want to join me again, Miss Pat? Yeah, give it up out there. And
As a music lover, I have learned to love all kinds of music.
Awesome.
And some of my younger friends have introduced me to hip hop back in the 80s. And I've been a friend and a fan for a long time. In addition to that, I discovered some young people in LA who did what they call crump dancing. And it's fascinating because as a social worker, I see how important this movement was for these children. And it's called Crump Dancing with Friends. Poets pull out feelings, remembering things best left alone. But the images fall from my memories like a Bruno Mars song, reminded me of the time when you used to be my man, causing me to move like a crump dancer, breathing hard, trying to outrun reminiscences from our past. I began spinning fast, surrounded by lost, hearing Bruno Mars sing about the time you used to be my man, and I whirled, my eyes closed, pain trapped inside, until friends began a laying on of hands, enclosing me in a circle of love, stronger than spoken words. When my eyes open, I see them, and I know I am whole again. I see them and know I am home with them and safe. Something light, since I haven't been writing much lately. A few words. Sometimes I want to write a few words, not a lot, just a few words, cramming all my thoughts into a sparse space, watching as they flow, falling over the edge. Why be sparse? Just let them flow, fill the space, plummet off the page, because it's important to say what needs to be said, not hiding meanings like you do when throwing covers across an unmade bed.
well, once again, on this National Poetry Month, people are missing out. They're missing out. We are. I mean, we are laying it out here. So there's some people missing out. It's okay. We'll be back. We'll be back. Spencer, you want to join? Yeah.
Actually, am I able to read something?
Yeah.
So I don't. So every once in a while, I will be listening to a friend or I'll be talking to someone or whatever else, and a poem will be given to me for that person in that time. And I have one for you, Pam, from your first poem in celebration of your friend. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I'm going to start. Well, we're going to ease us in with just a different poem completely, and we'll get into this one. This is a short poem called "On Having Misidentified a Wildflower" by the poet Richard Wilbur. In the poem, I didn't know this until I looked it up. there's a word thrush, and that's a bird. I didn't know that was a bird. I had to look it up. So this is a short 4-line poem, and I think it shows how masterfully poetry can help us love our world better. On having misidentified a wildflower, a thrush, because I'd been wrong, burst rightly into song, in a world not vague, not lonely, not governed by me only.
Yeah.
I love that poem. All right, and then here's a poem called From Blossoms. I was reading through this anthology of poems about joy, edited by a guy named Christian Wyman, who's a poet that I deeply love. And it's a poem about peaches. And I love this poem, and I was just reading it recently, and when you shared about the passing of your friend, it felt only necessary to share. This is From Blossoms by Lee Young Lee. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we bought from the boy at the bend in the road where we turned toward the signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins comes nectar at the roadside. Succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all, comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat not only the skin, but the shade, not only the sugar, but the days, to hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into the round jubilance of a peach. There are days there are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background. From joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from blossom to impossible blossom, to sweet, impossible blossom.
Wow, thank you. As I said, I believe that people are in the right place at the right time. You know, sometimes, you know, when it comes to things like that, who's supposed to be here is here, and I appreciate you all for being present. Again, as much as I would love to have lots of people, and I think that we'll get back to some of that, but I appreciate the people that do, you know, are able to join us. I think this is being recorded, right, George? So those will, you know, that weren't able to make it for whatever reason, will be able to view this. And so again, I appreciate you all for being here. Never look at, you know, just look at the moments in the now and say that somebody needed to hear it, if, you know, even if it's just us 5 people in here. Right. So yeah, and I appreciate that poem. I don't know that I ever really knew why her real name is Sonia, and I never knew why she was called Peaches, other than I was thinking maybe she had plump cheeks or something, you know. But when I read about peaches, I never knew that it's a tree that actually blossoms before it ever produces, you know, the fruit, you know. And I just thought about that, and I thought about harvest, and I thought about all the people, like, she's got a huge family and she's touched so many lives. I mean, like, you know, Michigan and Illinois, and just through her song, you know, and that's where the songbird came from. And so I thank you. I mean, it's nice to hear that, because again, I learned a lot. You know, it's a shame that you have to learn it after someone passes, but I mean, there's some beauty in learning about like what actually happens on a peach tree. So yeah, so I'm gonna do one more, and then we are going to present our featured artist. Yes, that would be awesome. This is one that I read often. I feel like I was in a poetry slam with you. Was I once at Notre Dame? Were you at the Wham Poetry Slam? I was. Were you? I don't know so long. Was your hair long then?
Yeah, it was real long. I went down to you.
Okay. I know. I just for some reason, Spencer, man, I was just thinking, I'm not looking at it because I see this hair short for so long and it's long now. And so I'm like, I feel like I was in a poetry slam with that one. Those are so hard to do, I promise you, if you haven't done it. It's a great experience, but it's definitely will challenge your nerves. And I want to say this one, I probably did at that one, but it's called Truth. And it's just truth about me. It's basically in poetry. Who am I? I am creator, born from creation, breath of life, a mind of artistic imagination, driven by passion, art of expression. I am your true craftsman. I am twisted words of truth, undocumented proof, and I give no excuse to what my pen might produce. My enthusiasm is to give you an eargasm of a whole lot of sarcasm, because it's the only time people really tell the truth. And they say the truth shall set you free, but what you fail to believe is that transparency has a warranty. So you'll expire quickly to lies just so you can get by. Just so you can get by on American dreams, on things you can't really afford. Or furthermore, save for tomorrow, having no real credit in this life unless you continue to borrow. So strapped for money that united, we can't stand up for justice. So divided, we fall for anything. Is our future even promising? When was the last time you built a castle in the sand? Where are the coloring books with crayons? And when did computers take over the art of drawing freehand? And when did Facebook become my new listening friend and inserting LOL behind comments keep me from the offend? Even now, your undivided attention I command. I am the potter on the wheel. To you, my thoughts I conceal, a beautiful mind revealed. The pen, my sword, the paper, my shield. Through poetry, I can heal. That's in honor of National Poetry Month. So, yes, our featured artist tonight. Are you excited? I totally am. Let me get to her bio here. Yes. Let's see if I can do this right, Lori. Lori Cassidy Siggety. Lori Cassidy Siggety. Lori is an artist, an author, editor, librarian, musician, poet, teacher, and writer. Can anybody say that back? That was a lot, wasn't it? It's awesome. She lives in a 115-year-old house in Mishawaka, Indiana, with her husband, Steve, and 4 pampered cats. I've seen them on Facebook. They're beautiful. Lori is also inspired by her memory garden that she created in 2010. Her newest collection of poetry, Home, is scheduled for release later in 2021. Just want to say a little bit about her. I met her through poetry events around the area, and I love her poetry, and I'm just excited that she was willing to accept the offer to be a featured artist. She's got a little special treat for us, so I'm looking forward to hearing. And those that are listening, but we don't see your face, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Give it up for Lori.
Yay. Thank you so much. I love April. It's my husband Steve's birthday is in April.
Yeah.
Yay. And it's springtime mostly. Well, kind of swintery, but the days are longer and the flowers and trees are blooming. And April, of course, as we've talked about, is National Poetry Month. It is my honor to be the featured poet here tonight at the Poetry Den in the Civil Rights Heritage Center in South Bend, Indiana. This is a beautiful and sacred venue. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you with my words this evening. Special thanks to you, Pam, for reaching out and inviting me, and thank you, George, for the technical assistance.
Yeah.
I'll be presenting old and new poems for you this evening. I wanted to add some music as well. I haven't really played percussion in a long time, so this is kind of a resurgence, if you will. So it's going to be kind of experimental and fun, and a lot of the poems, some will be serious, but a lot of them, I kind of chose the lighter ones because I think we need some lightness these days, and we need some funny, and I had something funny today that geese don't like me. Let's just say that. Yes, there's your preview. Geese are jerks.
Right. And they poop a lot.
Oh, they do. Yes. So this first one to start. The ocean is bluer. I'm happy to see the Atlantic Ocean from the airplane window seat. I am happier to see airplanes from the view of the sand. Short but sweet.
Yeah.
Mine are usually short but sweet. This one is called Frequent Flyer. My life is plagued by indecision, emotional, mental, tears blur my vision, but I fight my urge for flight, and sometimes I am floored and frozen and scared of what? Everything. That is called Frequent Flyer. That's anybody who deals with anxiety.
Yeah.
This one was kind of back in my drinking days. Yes, there's a story there too. This one is called Blame the Merlot. So sorry, Cabernet. I cheated on you with 2 cups of a dry Merlot, self-serve in a chewed up styrofoam cup. Tacky, I know. But cab, shh, please listen. You are usually my first choice, with the exception of a sweet Lambrusco at Doc's restaurant or a snazzy Shiraz, but that's beside the point. And you were nowhere to be found in the artisan's cabinet. And I had to present poetry longer than my usual 6 words. I digress. Blame the Merlot. Cab, will you find it in your swill to forgive me? That is called Blame the Merlot. And this one is called Fine Print. I read somewhere that red wine is good for the heart. However, I failed to read the fine print and forgot about the liver. Thanks. This one is called Dinner Time. I feel awkward watching 2 mallards wading in the tiny pond while my cat Mittens scarfs down cat food flavored with duck. Serenity Candle. I'm looking at the candle I bought yesterday instead of bottled wine I used to purchase often. I continue shoveling marshmallows in my mouth like squirrels eating seeds before winter. When people stop drinking, there is a tendency to crave sweets. That's why if you've ever gone to a meeting, that there is a huge jug of chocolates and candies. I have many a nights scarf down marshmallows and blueberries with like honey like drenched in them, and I'll take Cool Whip and I'll just eat them like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
All right. This poem is called April 2019. And this one is about my friend, the goose. Midnight, strolling home after a night out with friends. It was pajama night at the club where we watched my favorite local band, Ultrafab, perform. I accidentally stumbled too closely to a nest, and a goose charged me and started assaulting the back of my hair. I'm running down Main Street in a Hello Kitty black and pink pajamas with a damn goose flapping and attacking my head.
Oh no.
After it sprang off my head and faced me, I yelled at it, "I defended you from haters," as it continued to hiss in my direction. Arguing with a goose at midnight in the cat's pajamas, keeping Mishawaka crazy.
Yeah.
All right, this next one is called The Gloating Woodchuck. Not only do I not really care for geese, I'm really not happy with the woodchucks either. Saturday evening, changed into jammy bottoms, I guess my problem is pajamas, and a mismatched shirt. Intending to relax when I peered out the sliding glass door to my backyard, noting a groundhog chewing the last of the hostas. And I run out the door and chase after the gloating woodchuck with the hose. And he runs away, of course, with the last leaf hanging out of his groundhog mother chucking jowls. All right. Those are some of my bird and animal mishaps. Well, we're going to kind of turn the page a little bit, and I really wanted to give this poem to Sean Christensen, a really good friend of ours. And his dad, Tom, was going to be here tonight, but wasn't feeling well. And they just both, he published a book, and then he published a book of Sean's poetry. So if you get a chance to check that out, it's wonderful. But this one is called Sean and the Dirty Bird. Happy Earth Day, Sean. Thank you for giving the universe a nudge from the other side. The flip side, although your nudge may have been in the form of the finger, flipping nature the dirty bird. It must have worked so we can finally have spring. Thank you, Sean. That is Sean and the Dirty Bird.
Oh, Dirty Bird. My God, man. Miss him terribly too.
For Sean. He probably would like brushes, so I'm going to play brushes. 27, too damn young to ascend to heaven. But what do I know? I do not know the universe's plan, but I am regretful and saddened to not have spent more time with such a wonderful man.
Yeah. Sean.
Yeah, he's a good guy. This one's called The Creative Collective. This is also about Sean. This winter was a lot colder. This spring is a lot quieter. My soul has grown older, and the light in our creative collective is dimmer and will stay dim for quite a while. As you, Sean, are one of us, and we love you. This one is called Two Takes on Sobriety. Take 1, 2008. Sobriety, a bitter pill to ingest. Take 2, 2020. Sobriety, a better life to invest.
Yeah.
Thank you. This one is called Tear Storms. Tuesday night, late October, stormy, and the clouds release all the tear storms. There's nothing like a good cry. I cry often.
Yeah.
And here is my last poem entitled Lightness. I crawled out of the wine cabinet, waving the sobriety flag high, as there's nothing anonymous about my illness, as anonymity kept me from lightness in the first place. So I'll end you with that. That's really all I have. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the drums and the poetry. So thank you.
Well, thank you again, Lori, for being here and bringing some extra background music for your poetry. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Steve, for being here this evening. Again, we encourage, if you know someone that loves poetry, pass on the word. We'll continue to look for ways to get people involved, but I'm glad that you all are here. I'm glad to be here. I love poetry. This is National Poetry Month, and I'm glad to be able to celebrate that with those that are here, those that just stopped in for a brief moment. But we love poetry. We're thankful for the spot, the Civil Rights Heritage Center. We encourage you to also link to their page, because there's more than just the poetry then that's happening out of here. But yes, so thank you for being here this evening. We'll be back next month with another featured artist. And yeah, we're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna keep perfecting it and doing what we feel is changing the planet, changing the earth, right? One word at a time, one good word at a time. So thank you for being here. Love you out there. Love you here. Life is short. Let's keep living it, right? All right.